Hi everyone, welcome to From the Pavilion's World Cup Daily, T20 World Cup Daily. I'm Carter Krishnaiyer. We are brought to you each and every day during this tournament by the Boca Raton Tribune. Check them out at BocaRatonTribune.com. The best cricket coverage in South Florida, in the state of Florida, and one of the best newspapers in the state of Florida. If you want hyper-local news and some national and world news as well, BocaRatonTribune.com is where you can find the Boca Raton Tribune. So, pretty straightforward day of cricket in the World Cup. Sri Lanka crushes Oman, not surprisingly. Congratulations to Italy, their first win in their World Cup history, beating Nepal, who looked so strong against England. This may raise more questions about England after their very meek performance against the West Indies and their struggles against Nepal. And additionally, India beats Namibia fairly easily. Match was never really in doubt, although Namibia's bowlers did a great job of rallying and getting some late wickets, slowing the India flow of runs over the last 4 overs. At one point, it looked like India might get to 240 runs. They didn't get there. Namibia in the chase, in the power play, looked good, but India's spin bowlers shut them down. And Bumrah is back. I thought he'd picked up another knock, it looked like, but he was able to bowl another over after that. And he is back, and that is big news for India. That's big news in this tournament. One of the best bowlers in the world. We've seen it both at the T20 level, last World Cup final against South Africa. We've also seen it at the one-day level and in the tour of Australia, India did a few years ago. Just some magical overs he bowled, some incredible bowling from Bumrah. So he is back. Not much to analyze from those matches. Italy, I think, a very, very big win. A statement of intent that they have arrived on the world cricket scene, and they probably are here to stay. So congratulations to Italy. So let's get right to the U.S.-Netherlands match tomorrow. It is a high-stakes battle in Chennai, which is the hometown of my family. I was born and raised in the United States. I've never lived in Chennai, but I've spent plenty of time there. And I have been to the Chepauk many a time for a cricket match. So it is a ground I know. It is a ground I understand how the wicket plays, particularly this time of year, which is the tail end of monsoon season. We saw those conditions in Colombo as well. We've seen those conditions in Kandy as well. So let's talk about this match for the U.S. It is a 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time, first ball, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time here on the East Coast of the United States. This is an opportunity for the United States to get a victory against maybe a side they're fairly evenly matched with. It's tough for associate nations to get wins. So you take wins where you can get them. I know theoretically the U.S. is still alive in this tournament with the potential of advancing to the Super 8s. I don't think that's going to happen. So let's just try and get some results here and build from it is the way I'm approaching it. The Dutch also got a win over Namibia, a strong 7-wicket win, and they played very, very well against Pakistan. So this is going to be a difficult matchup. Historically, the Chepauk, as I've seen, favors teams chasing. The U.S. has won the toss in the first 2 matches and elected to bowl first. So hopefully win another toss tomorrow and can elect to do the same, bowl again. I think you're looking at a Dutch team that is very confident when playing the United States. There was a tight victory for the Dutch it was right after the World Cup in 2024. So it would have been August or September, if I recall correctly, when the Dutch beat us by 4 runs. Now, Ali Khan was injured for that match. Ali Khan is probably going to be injured again tomorrow. I don't know if he's going to bowl another ball in this World Cup. So, what do we expect tomorrow from the U.S.? I think Shubham may not be able to bowl because of that bum leg. So that puts the U.S. in a position where you have to find some overs from some other places. Could you potentially see Kengeji, who we have not seen in this tournament yet, which is something that has surprised me, quite frankly. We have not seen Kengeji play. Maybe he bowls. I don't know what the status is there. You're going to get 4 overs from Netravalkar. You're going to get 4 overs from Van Schalkwyk, who has been sensational in this tournament and could be confused with a Dutch player based on his name and some of his lineage. But a fantastic tournament so far for the 37-year-old Skadley Van Schalkwyk. Harmeet Singh, I think, will probably bowl 4 overs tomorrow. So I think this is the sort of thing you probably have to consider. Moshin has bowled phenomenally in this tournament. I think you get him bowling as much as possible. Obviously, Adil has been called into the squad. Wasn't great against Pakistan. I think he could be more critical against the Netherlands now that he's got his feet wet with his new international squad. He was allowed to switch to the United States because there is a rule about switching time length from switching from a test nation to an associate nation. So it has been more than 10 years since he had played for Pakistan. I believe the rule is actually either 5 or 7 years. I need to look this up, but it had been at least 10 years since he had played for Pakistan. And he had played in the 2015 World Cup for Pakistan, the World Cup that was held in Australia. So he was eligible to switch, one-time switch to the U.S., which he's made, and hopefully he can have an impact. Who are we watching tomorrow from our side? Manak has had a duck against India, which was very costly, as the U.S. was chasing a very difficult number to defend because the U.S. bowled so brilliantly until those last few overs against India. Very, very difficult total to defend for India, but Manak made it easy by getting a duck early in the American India innings. He's had 2 very low scores in this tournament, but he had a half century in the most critical match last tournament for the U.S., which was the win over Pakistan. He had been averaging, coming into this tournament in recent matches, basically a half century, but he's been off in this tournament. He is the skipper. He is the captain. So let's see if he can bounce back. Van Schalkwyk, I mentioned, I think he's critical. For the Netherlands, Delede, who did not bowl particularly well against Pakistan, and may have been the difference in the match. Pakistan wins, was unbeaten in terms of his batting against Namibia. Never out, and scored a half century, and then took several wickets. I think he took 3 wickets against Namibia. 2 or 3 wickets he took in that match. So great bowling, great batting from him. Max O'Dowd is a player that I think everybody who follows international cricket, particularly at the T20 level, knows. He has not played particularly well in this tournament. So that's something to worry about from the U.S. perspective. He, like Manak, is due for an explosion. So here is the here is the rub with this match. I think the U.S. has had trouble hitting spin in this tournament. We saw that in Colombo against Pakistan, right? Some great overs against pacers and fast bowlers. In fact, the U.S. was out of the gate quickly in the power play against Pakistan, and then middle overs, there was just nothing. Like watching a molasses run. That was couldn't hit spin. And we talked about even the confusion there. So I think hitting spin is going to be important. I think House and Patel, Manak Patel, both keeping their wicket as long as possible is going to be critical. House at the very top of the order, because Van Beek and Klein are very, very disciplined bowlers. We've seen that in both Netherlands matches thus far. In terms of our bowling, I think this is where Harmeet and I mentioned Mohammed Mohsin, those two are really going to have to carry us in the middle of the middle overs. Maybe it's Van Schalkwyk and Netravalkar, perhaps Adil in the power play, and then in the death overs. But then that middle has to be carried. And again, we have not seen Kengeji in this tournament, which is surprising to me. Now, Krishnamurthy, Sanjay Krishnamurthy, player we have so much hope for, did so well against India, was quite frankly terrible. I think he might have gone for a duck against Pakistan. I don't have the scorecard in front of me, but I think he was bad against Pakistan and lost his wicket pretty quickly. He needs to be more into this match. And then I think in terms of Shubham, he may not be able to bowl again. There's frustration that he's not running out singles, and singles could be critical in this match. But keeping him on strike in both the India and Pakistan matches allowed the chase to be a little more robust. That could happen again this time. So how you play him, this is Manak's decision ultimately. How you play him, when you play him, that I think is fairly important. In terms of his order, he moved up in the order in the Pakistan match and was able to deliver a plethora of runs again, much like he did against India. So we have our match tomorrow, as well as Australia, Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has not looked bad in this tournament. I think that could be an interesting matchup, a little more difficult for Australia. And then we have Canada and UAE, two of the worst teams in the tournament. Someone is going to get something out of that match. I think it might be Canada. We'll see. But yeah, two nations that started very, very poorly. But you have to consider the competition is particularly for Canada facing South Africa. Obviously, Netherlands, US will be back tomorrow at some point. It might be later in the America afternoon or evening US time with some analysis of what happens in Chennai at the Chepak. Or the Chebog, if you're a Hindi speaker. Chepak is Tamil, which is my mother tongue, by the way. But Chebog, I've heard it referred to by because it was a garden at one time, just like Eden Gardens, just like a Lal Bagh in Bengaluru. It was a garden, so that's what it's that's what it's called in Hindi. So yeah, we'll be back. Hopefully the U.S. can get something tomorrow, and then we have a quick turnaround for a match, same venue, at 3 o'clock Indian Standard Time. So that's 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Sunday morning against Namibia. That'll be the last match of the tournament, likely for the United States. And that's a match based on what we've seen from Namibia. The U.S. definitely has a shot to win. I think have a shot against the Netherlands. I think maybe a slight underdog, but we will see. So we'll be back tomorrow.